Hey everybody, Jason Atkinson here, author of Live Like an Athlete, and in today's short video we're going to be talking about the priority pyramid of fat loss and why cardio is actually the least effective method of reshaping your body. So before we get into today's video, for those of you who don't know who I am, as I said, I'm the author of Live Like an Athlete. That's my bestseller that's available through my website. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel, or visit the website, subscribe by email or through social media so you never miss an update. I was an anatomy and physiology instructor. I taught biology in the classroom, so my background is in health sciences and education. I was featured in Success Magazine for successfully reshaping my physique and maintaining a new healthy weight now for several years. And I was also a runner-up in the first round ever of the Body for Life transformation. That's the largest physique transformation way back in 1999. So I've been in the health and fitness industry for about 20 years now. I picked up a thing or two along the way to successfully transforming my physique and that of my clients, and so that's what I want to share with you today. So as I said in the preview, most people are thinking cardio is the best way to reshape their physique. I want to explain to you why that's not true. The base of our pyramid here, 40%, is coming from what we call BMR, or basal metabolic rate. That's the rate at which your calories are burned at rest. So the amount of energy that your body expends if you were completely motionless throughout the day, that includes respiration, all of the processes that go on inside the body, that's what contributes to your BMR. The number one thing that gives you a boost in BMR is going to be the amount of muscle mass or lean body mass that you carry. That's the amount of weight that you have that is not body fat. That's everything except body fat. So that's muscle tissue, that's bone, water, skin, everything else, excluding body fat. And the way to maintain your LBM, or to increase your LBM and therefore increase your calorie burning, is by having more muscle. And the way you do that is through strength training or resistance training. And that needs to be at a level that's close to failure. It doesn't have to be excruciating, but you want to push yourself beyond your current capabilities. That can be body weight, or you can do weight training with actual barbells, dumbbells, cables, and machines, whichever suits your preference. You can do it at home, you can do it at the gym, you can do it in classes, you can do it by yourself, doesn't really matter. But the bottom line is do it and prioritize it, because that is what's going to contribute the greatest bang for your buck, if you will, when it comes to BMR. So certain people are going to burn more calories than others. Contrary to popular belief, people who are overweight actually have a very fast metabolism. They're burning more calories at rest than lower body weight people. That's why as you begin to lose weight, the amount of weight you're going to lose on a weekly, monthly basis is going to diminish, because your body is smaller, it's lighter, it may have less muscle mass, your metabolism may have slowed down to reach the amount, or match the amount of energy you have coming in, something I talked about in a previous video if you want to go back and check that out. But the bottom line is, do the strength training, maintain or build your muscle mass at all costs, because that's 40% of this equation as far as how many calories or how much energy your body's going to burn at rest. The next level up is called non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT for short. In my book, Live Like an Athlete, that's what I called extra steps or exercise. That's going to be things like going for a walk, playing in the park with your kids, participating in some type of sport or activity, maybe pick up cycling or walking or something along those lines, parking at the end of the parking lot, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, fidgeting if you have like an active type job. Obviously, you're going to burn more calories on a daily basis than you would if you were just sitting motionless. Which brings us to our next level here. And by the way, NEAT NEAT accounts for 30% of your overall daily total daily energy expenditure. So the next level up is what we call thermic effective food, or TEF. Now, the reason why TEF affects NEAT is because most people try to dial down their calories. What's going to end up happening is the body is sensing starvation, and on a subconscious level, it's actually going to reduce the amount of activity that you're doing around the clock in order to try to hold on or prioritize your maintaining your overall health and your energy level. So when it comes to TEF, or thermic effect of food, the biggest bang for your buck there is protein. The previous video, I talked about the three main macronutrients, which are protein, carbohydrate, and fat. So out of every 100 calories, or 100 grams, we'll say, of protein, out of every 100 grams of protein you consume, 30 of those are going to be used up just in storing and processing the protein. So we're talking about 120 calories out of every 400 calories you consume, just in the storing and processing. So protein has a much higher reward as far as the amount of energy it takes in order to utilize the calories from the protein. That's because protein is not actually a source of energy, or it's a very inefficient source of energy when compared to carbohydrate or fat, which is what you want if you're in a weight loss program because you're trying to make it inefficient. Carbohydrate is a little more efficient for the body to use. That's got, I think, about a 10% thermic effect, something like that. And then fat's way down here at the bottom with about a 30%, or 3% rather. So protein, 30% burn, 10% on carbs, and then about 3% on fat. So if you were an Olympic athlete, for example, you would want to take in an easy burning fuel like carbohydrate. If you're about to go out and run, or compete in an event, that would be ideal, an easy burning source of energy. What we want is a source of energy that is not so easy to burn. Also, while I'm here, let me make the comparison between simple carbohydrate and complex carbohydrate. A simple carbohydrate is closer to glucose or blood sugar in molecular structure, so it's easier for your body to convert it into energy. That's why we want to shy away from those, and on the days when we're actually doing carbohydrates, we want to increase the amount of complex carbohydrates because it takes more energy to break those down and utilize them. Cellulose, for example, if you think about like celery, it's a much more complex chain. It has a lot more carbon molecules in it than a simple sugar would, so your body has to work harder to break it down and try to make energy out of it. So that's why vegetables are really the premium source of carbohydrates. And then occasionally we're going to cycle in some of the higher glycemic or simpler carbohydrates like white rice, potatoes, honey, things like that are closer to blood glucose that will actually spike your insulin and increase the amount of glycogen going into the muscle cells. So while I'm parked here, let me just go ahead and spell that out for you real quick, because the way that a carb cycling program works best is by depleting your carbohydrate levels. Next thing up on our hierarchy here, at the top of the pyramid, is what we call excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, or EPOC for short. EPOC is the afterburn from high-intensity exercise. So the substrate that your body uses to do like a sprint interval or something like that is carbohydrate. You can't really fuel that type of intensity with protein or fat effectively. So your body uses carbohydrate as a substrate, or it's going to use stored carbohydrate, which is in the form of glycogen stored in the muscles in the liver, to fuel that activity. So once that's depleted, after that you have the afterburn effect, where your metabolism is elevated for the next 12 to 24 hours, depending on the intensity of the exercise. So by prioritizing cardiovascular exercise, what you're doing is you're depleting carbohydrate, and if you don't have an adequate amount stored in your body, like if you train in a fasted state, you do that type of activity, you're going to be converting protein into carbohydrate to fuel the activity, which is called deamination. That's breaking down the amino acids, basically tearing down muscle tissue and turning it into energy, which is going to reduce your BMR here. The other thing that's going to do for you is it's going to turn your body into a less efficient machine, because in order to do cardio effectively, your body senses that the excess muscle tissue is too heavy, and it's going to take every measure that it can to drop some of that excess weight so that you can do cardio more effectively. So that's a 1-2 detrimental thing. Now, I'm not saying avoid cardio at all costs, but definitely don't prioritize it. And when you do cardiovascular type activity, I would say get it as far away from your muscle building or muscle maintaining workouts as you possibly can. So to give you my example, if I'm going to do weight training between 7 and 8 a.m., I'm going to wait until maybe 1 or 2 p.m. to do the cardio training, or maybe even between 4 and 5 p.m., about an hour after a meal and about an hour before the next meal, so that can increase the insulin sensitivity. I would especially do cardio on higher carbohydrate days because you're going to burn up whatever glucose you got in your body, and then whatever carbohydrate you eat is just going to go right back in to replenish that glycogen and be much less likely to be stored as body fat. So that's all the time we have for today's video. I'll have more of these on the way. If you like this channel, please subscribe. Go ahead and pick up a copy of my book. Visit the website, share a link on social media. It really helps us out. And if you have any questions for a future episode, let me know what they are, and I will do everything I can to get those on the air for you. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you again soon.